I'll give it like about 1 or 2 more minutes so other attendees can join. Awesome. Let's get started. So a little bit about myself to start with. I'm a computer science curriculum developer here at Codio. I formerly worked as a software engineer in the aerospace industry. I worked at tech camps, ITA. I created different curriculum plans for kids, and coordinated different STEM mentorship programs. Um, oh, okay. Give me a sec. This is weird. So let's get started with the topic of the webinar is going to be transform your data science teaching with Codio. And the whole goal will be to help you reduce complexity, boost engagement, and drive success in data science. So for starters, we figured out that about 92% of educators report spending too much time acting as tech support for their students. So when you're using Codio, we try to pretty much limit that tech support to zero. So let's get started with first, we have stacks that provide support for any language. Um, for starters, we're going to go in Codio really quickly and try looking at some assignments. For starters, if you want to create a new assignment, you can go into add new assignment here, and then you have access to the starting point, which will be your stack. So from there, you could choose what language you're going to interact with. It could start from Java, Python. We have a stack with Jupyter, Ruby. You can even browse for more. As you can see some OpenAI. You can see MySQL courses, etc. So let's start with selecting information with Python. Let's see quickly. All this loads. Um, Give me a sec. Awesome. So as you can see here, we have a typical Codio format where we have text on the right and on the left, you have some coding. So if I try running the try button here, it'll run the Python code on the left. Similarly, we have access to edit button here, where pretty much everything in here is Markdown or HTML. So going back here, let's try running the try button, and it'll first of all read the Python code, execute it, and in our case, we have a preloaded data set. One of the cool things with Codio is our ability to quickly download data sets. For example, in this case, downloading it right now. Or in case you want to upload a data set to interact with, you can, for example, delete this really quickly and do File, Upload. And you can drag and drop a mock data set. So why that's helpful is after you pretty much upload that data set, pretty much all your students will have access to that data set. So if you make any edits, for example, this character right here, if you want to delete it, you no longer want it part of your data set, you can delete it and then you do a publish, cleaning the data set. All your students will have that new data set with your edits. So not only do we provide support for Python, we provide support for many of the other programming languages that are used in data science. For example, we could try using R. Let's run some RStudio here. reconnect really quickly. So this is RStudio, and in this case, let's say I wanted to run this. I generated a cool scatter plot from RStudio. So the same way we can run and execute code in Python, we can do it in R, we can do it in SQL, or any other programming languages that one might think about to teach data science. So I gave an example using Python. We use an example using R. We could also have an example using SQL. And one of the cool things at Codio is our access to the terminal. So for example, in this case, this is going to be interacting with, let's see, which one should I use? We're going to have access to the terminal. So any of the terminal commands still work. ls, knowing where you are. And if we want to interact with, for example, a SQL course here, right? Let's say I want to copy and paste. We already have a data set here. We can just copy and paste in here and then run it. And we'll get the information as we want. So why this is really important is that 92% of instructor dealing with basically doing tech support for your students. After you set up your course or your assignment inside Codio, you know what's in there. You decide, for example, what data set they're seeing. You decide what language they're using. Let's suppose you feel like, hey, I actually want something more. Let's say, for example, I wanted to add pandas to my, for all my students. Pandas. You can quickly do a pip install pandas and then pretty much update your stack from there. Create new stack version, to delete later, but have pandas in it. After you create this new stack, you do a publish, and all your students will have access to pandas and whatever else you installed for them. So another cool thing that we have, it's going to take a second, obviously, to update the stack version and then go from there. But one of the cool things is you can close the window and it'll still like update the stack. Another cool thing that we have with Codio is the ability to use different IDEs. As you can tell, we have our Codio IDE that we use, that we saw here, that will run Python code, but we have access to others as well. So not only you saw us using Python, you saw us using it for R. Now we can try and pretty much, so this is like we can use Jupyter, we can use Spider, we can use VS Code, you name it. Let's take a second here. For example, we can try, let's try here, for example. Here I'm loading a Codio assignment, but this time we're going to use Jupyter as our IDE. So let's see. Let's see. Let's do a quick refresh real quick. Wait, no. Oh, I already had it loaded. So this is an example of using Jupyter inside a platform. For example, here you can run. Also, you can use NBGrader to actually grade some of your assignments or some of the plots that your student use. You also have access, for example, to spreadsheets. So for example, if you want to, I don't know, teach learners how to use like Office, Excel, etc. inside a platform. Let's see, geospatial data. Okay, that one is a heavy stack. Let's see. Awesome, cool. So this is us using a little bit of Jupyter inside Codio. Let's see, if I run it here, might take a second. It'll download all the necessary stuff that I was like, hey, please download this and warnings, if anything. Um, but still generate a cool little graph. Next, we can also, oh, yeah, believe. Next, we also have access to Spider if we want to test that, and also VS Code. Um, One of the cool things about this is our ability to pretty much support popular software. So let's suppose as an instructor, you want your learners to like, hey, I want you to have experience using Spider. Hey, I want you to have experience using um, Node.js, or I want you to have experience using, let's see, Spider, VS Code, for example, here, um, SQL, you name it. We can usually get a stack that gets that running for you. Um, Next is one of the cool features I like with Codio is our ability to pretty much grade. You saw us grading here some plots, but also we have built-in assessment generators. So for example, based on this page, we would be able to, for example, generate multiple choice that relates to this page. Let's see. So that's going to get us into some of our AI features. Um, so for example, here, this is a multiple choice assessment inside Codio. So the multiple choice here, you can see you're able to give a rationale to your students. You're able to choose the number of attempts your learners get. You're able to choose if they see a rationale or not. You're able to choose if you show the expected answers or not. So going back to that 92% again, we are trying to eliminate as many tech issues as possible. So from having different IDEs accessible, different languages accessible, and even switching your stacks depending on what you want to do. Um, so next, I want to kind of cover how the different ways we try to support learners. As you can see in our previous, oh, I closed it. Huh. Um, so let's go back to selecting data in Python again. The try buttons help them constantly run and check their code. But also, I like the reading questions that we have. The ability to constantly check for comprehension and also give rationale and automate pretty much all the questions that you might have for your learners. For example, if we go on assessment here, you can see the different types of assessment that we have. For example, we have standard code tests, advanced code tests, parsing puzzles, multiple choice, fill in the blank, etc. So all of those come with that same format where you decide as an instructor how many attempts that they're having, how many do they see the answer, how you want your rationale to be, or how in depth you want your rationale to be. And matter of fact, for example, if you want even more help with, for example, you're teaching a very dense topic in data science, one of the cool things that we can do is our ability to enable or coach, which is our LLM here. So let's suppose I want to enable coach here for this assignment. I could go into importing data frames and scroll down and decide what I want well, a little bit about coach. It's our AI assistant. Um, so coach helps by basically it reduces learner support costs. So how that works is coach helps them with error. If they're getting an error over and over again, coach can help decipher it and explain it to them. Or coach can summarize what the learner wants to do. And basically coach can tell them like, hey, this is what is expected of you if the page is, for example, confusing. And you choose which one of those capabilities that Coach can do. So let's say I want to toggle all of them. I want you to be able to summarize a prompt, um, help with error augmentation, and give them hits. For example, I'll save my changes here, and then I'll go back to that same assignment here. Let's say that one. I have to be in review mode. My fault. So I was in edit mode, but if I go here, I'm going to get a frame. Let's see. So here you'll have little coach assistant button right here. So for example, if I go, hey, coach, what am I being asked to do here? Coach will read the page and basically give a summary of like what is expected of the learner. But for example, if, for example, let's say the learner wants to like type in some code and basically generate faulty code here. Let's see. Let's say you don't get what's happening. You could be like, hey, could you explain this error to me? So you can copy and paste it below. And then coach will give you some feedback. Hey, you have a syntax error. And this is what is happening. And also, you have the ability to ask coach, like, provide hints on what to do next. Let's suppose you want, for example, simply to explain error. You can go back and toggle the assignment here and scroll all the way down. And let's see, close this, and save changes. Just like that, your learners will only have access to coach that will help them with errors. Other cool thing that we try to do here is innovate. So as we're moving into this AI world, a lot of like data science will also come with some learning of AI. So we have an LLM budget proxy here, which is pretty much using Codio's key, we can, or your organization key, you can basically run commands using, for example, OpenAI or other language models. So let's see here. Let's try with code assistance and workflow with AI. So here, let's say we want to, can you please be polite to the AI? Write Python code that would generate the mean. So you can run the AI, and then the AI will pretty much like give you some results. Like for example, um, let's see how long OpenAI takes. So here we get an AI response, and we can just pretty much copy and paste it in here as a learner. Well, not recommended, but pretty much you can teach learners how to interact with AI using this. Um, or for example, if they had an error, it's like, hey, I don't know what's happening here. It's the same thing with Coach, where you'll be able to run this, get an error, and be like, hey, I don't understand what that error is. And you can use AI to debug it. So in the back end here, we are pretty much teaching learners like, hey, how could I use AI to like create a bar chart in Matplotlib? And you can run the AI here, and the AI will give you some form of like code, and you can try it yourself. All right. So we covered AI to reduce learner support costs. Um, another, I forgot one of the coolest things. One of the coolest things I think we have access to is pretty much our GPU-enabled environments that help us with machine learning and deep learning frameworks such as TensorFlow. Um, so for example, here, let's see, all I needed to be here was like go to settings and enable my GPU. Usually like it's on standard, but like let's just enable it really quickly. And from here you can get information based on like your GPU in case you wanted to interact with TensorFlow and do more advanced slash more complicated um stuff such as oh, oh gotcha. So here this is us like showcasing a little bit of like our GPU and memory information. So this would take a couple seconds if I tried to run it, but let's give it a shot. 100 image. So basically this is us basically training a neural network inside like Codio and using Jupyter. So before I keep going, I know I've been going a little bit fast. Are there any questions? Let's see. Okay. Um, are there data sets built in to Codio? Well, oh, sorry. Are there data sets built in Codio or do we have to upload them? Depending on, there are no data sets built in Codio. However, if you're using, for example, or courses, if we go to, let's see, add empty modules, actually, covered from existing. So we have a data science course. If you have access to that, there are pre-built data sets inside of that. So for example, let's see, if I wanted to add a new course here, new course, choose from catalog. Let's see. Oh, I'm an incognito, so it's very angry of me. Let's see. Let's see data science here. So let's see, let's say I want to, for example, get this lab here. Let's toggle everything off. Let's simply get the lab. So this is simply me creating a course from Codio's existing catalog. And those assignments have pre-built data sets in them. Awesome. So if I go here, there's a zombie.csv, which is over, I don't know, some thousand, um, well, close to 1,000 lines long, right? And this is pre-built, and this is inside one of our courses. So this is a lab where pretty much learners are pretty much working for the CDC, and they're trying to decipher a data set. How many people are zombies? Which state had the most zombies, etc. Um, what do you think about your course for graduate? Is it free? Can we take them? Or they enough to study career and data science? Um, the let's go back here. Essential data science. Let's see. So let's go here for a second. So we got a question which is, what do you think about your courses for graduates? Um, well, this essential data science course is primarily to get you started in the data science field. So we start by teaching you basic Python and teach you like visualization tools. Like as we scroll through, you'll see we cover things such as like merges, joins, comparison, teach a little bit of analysis, and then focus on visualization. Um, I think yes, you can start. I think yes, you can start it for graduate courses, but I think you would need to supplement it with, as a data scientist, you would need to cover extra languages such as R, or MySQL courses, which we also have in our course catalog. So if I go here and I go to data science, I would cover both Python data science with Jupyter and Python with R. Um, there's also databases with MySQL, which would also be covered. Any more questions before I keep going? All right. So I will kind of go over how to create basically a course and set up your stack and add a data set just to show how quickly and how easy I can create it inside Codio. So let's say I want to create a new course, for example, author your own course. Let's say K Village. Here, can't spell today. Um, data web, right? So I create my own course, and let's say I want to create a new module here, thus, and then I can add a new assignment. And from there, I add an assignment. Let's say I want to use Python or Jupyter. Let's say Python for now. And so just like that, we created, or oh, there's a README. I don't usually like the README, so so just like that, we created a course, and from here we can start editing or authoring content. So let's say we want page to page. Um, let's give it a sec. So let's do this, approve really quickly. So from here, right, this is our basic layout, and I wanna basically change the layout with a panel on the left that says um, temp.py. Let's create this new file, temp.py, right? So when I go here, I can go in preview, unless I temp.py. Oh, I could not spell. Let's say rename really quickly, temp.py. Okay. And just like that, we can, for example, import stats. Actually, let's say I also want my learners to have access to a terminal. Let's just do this and then terminal on panel. Okay, yep. Let's say terminal on panel B. So just like that, I can just run Python 3 temp.py. Right. So another thing that we can do, for example, here, let's rename the page. Right. So right now we can upload a data set really quickly. Let's upload the same one, mock data.csv. And just like that, we can look at the data. And let's say I want to publish this. I can simply publish into initial commit. Right? And here, this is our first assignment. Let's try to give our learners access to Coach. So from here, I'll just go on overview really quickly and toggle these on. And let's try logging in as a test student to see how they would see it from their side. Oh. So from here, if I click as a student, it's going to first load the assignment, include our data set and our stack and everything how we wanted it for the learner. So this is what the learner would see. They would have a terminal at the bottom and access to temp.py. And if I do ls here, you can still see that we have our mock company data. .csv present for a learner. Um, so also the little coach at the bottom, what do I need to do? And then coach can help step in and be like, hey, the requirements are calculate the mean using the sum and len function, etc. So that was pretty much creating a whole stack, uploading a data set, enabling like coach in less than 5 minutes, and all your learners would have access to it. Oh, sorry. Um, awesome. So let's go back. Are there any questions in terms of creating a course, setting up your stack, or anything so far? Awesome. So let's go back. Let's exit out of that one. Switch back to teacher account. And let's suppose we want to enable Jupyter, giving your students access to something different. You want a different IDE. So we have a Jupyter stack here. Jupyter tasks. Let's see. Yep, yep. We can create this. So file. So just like that, we also have Jupyter ready for our learners. So suppose we want to, I don't want to create a graph right now, but this is pretty simple. And if we want to do something more, we can, for example, let's say we want to add NumPy, we can do a pip install NumPy and then push into the stack. NumPy. And all your learners would have access to after you do publish. Oh, we already have it, but yeah. So that was an example, creating a course, creating different assignments, setting up a stack. And also from your side as instructor, we have learning and behavior insight, which allows you to pretty much track your students' keystroke and identify how if learners are struggling. Obviously for this current course, let's see, let's go back. We don't have actual learners, but if you go into insights here, you can see different metrics that will tell you how your learners are doing. Um, yeah. So any questions? Oh, I think I covered and talked a lot. So let me know if I need to go back to anything or if you want to see something else. I'll give it like a couple minutes. If not, I think we would be pretty much done with the webinar. Well, first of all, I want to point out that like you can start with like a free instructor account. With the free instructor account, you get to play around with Codio and see the different you'll have see the different courses that we have in our catalog. If you are an instructor and you create an instructor account, you have access to all of that. And from there, depending on, oh, okay. And from there, depending on if you want to keep going, you'll have access to different things such as, um, let's go here, virtual machines, GPUs, etc. And I want to point out from your free instructor account, you can also pull out any courses from a course catalog. So from here, you can just go here, and if you want Python programming, if you want some of the Python programming, for example, you can toggle it and just create a new course from there. Oh, I'm guessing no more questions. Thank you so much for joining. If you guys need any have any more questions regarding pricing, codio.com/get started. Any more questions, we'll be happy to get back to you guys at any point. Thank you.